letter like it? Why is it? Why was it impossible? Why is it impossible to produce something like the Quran? We know now why, because we have studied the criteria by observing the reasons why the Quran is unlike any of the literature.
Well, you can't always replicate verses or chapters like it, because you just can't make the same book. It's always going to be different.
It's not replicating it, bringing something like it, and similar.
I think there are plenty of books that are more poetic and more eloquent than the Quran.
Okay. Since when the challenge was, or the falsification test was, to bring something more eloquent and more poetic? You see, it's the misunderstanding again of what the falsification test is about.
Right.
One thing that people fail to realize, that's why they study this superficially, not you are saying, majority of the people. And they think that's why, oh, it's just like a book, and I can give you a better book like this, and there you go, nice poetry and so on.
I can test that anyway. I can test that you could find a book that's more eloquent and more poetic than the Quran anyway.
But it is never part of being poetic or eloquent, right? Because the Quran is not poetry.
No.
It's not even prose. If you look at it, the Arabs had poetry. They had 16 types of poetry. They call them bihar, al-madid, rajas, al-tawil. There's 16 of them. The Quran is none of them. It's not even prose. It's not even poetry. So it's not like, for example, this. Oh, is this just your ordinary speech?
Yeah.
It's not like this. So what is the form of the Quran? People think that Quran is in one form, so we now can categorize this Quran. We call the genre of the Quran, the Quranic genre. It's a unique form of stylistics presented within the Quran. And we know why this Quran is unimitable, because a lot of scholars have come through and explained it. Yeah. And if you were to study some of these books, and you realize why it is impossible for someone to match it, because it came in a language where they cannot replicate it, because it is beyond their capacity.
It came in a circumstance where no one can replicate it either. It came in a circumstance where nobody can replicate it either.
Actually, the other way around.
It is made up of letters of the same Arabic language, and yet it constructed those letters in a certain way. It formulated words and phrases, give you this meaning and the structure which they are not able to replicate. That is what the Quran is saying. If you're able to replicate this way, not replicate, match it like this, then you know it's not from God. So why is it then? What's stopping from people imitating it?
People don't want to. People don't want to.
No, it's not the case.
That's right. And
people have been trying. People have tried even a few years ago. I mean, if you look at the internet, a surah like it, there's lots of websites like this. But when you analyze it, and you can clearly see, okay, this is where it falls, this is where it falls, this is where it falls. Because it's not like the Quran. It's unlike the Quran. So you have to match it. The reason why they fell is because they cannot bring of the same linguistic construct the Quran brought. Let me give you an example. Right? We read Surah Al-Fatiha. I'm going to just give you one or two verses from it. Every single day, at least 17 times a day, Muslims pray this, right? In their prayers. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The Arabs knew what the word hamd means, praising. They knew that Alhamd means all praise, make it definitive. They know what Rabb means. They know what Alam means. They somehow guessed what Alameen meant, but they had nothing to do with the word Alameen in their vocabulary and their dictionary. So what happened there? They knew that the universe is Alam, world. They had no construct in their vocabulary about Alameen, plural form of Alam. Simply didn't exist. When the Quran brought something like this, so it introduced a new form of the language.
Arabic was in its infancy, and the Quran was the first book in Arabic.
Arabic wasn't in infancy. They were constructing poetries, and they had poetry competitions in the market of Okaz and others. So it wasn't in infancy. They are masters in their language. So it's very difficult. Maybe they didn't have a book form. It's mainly oral recitation, and they will memorize thousands of verses in their memory. They would memorize the lineage of their horses. How many generations? Who knows, right? So it exists. Literature existed in an oral form.
In an oral form.
So the Quran also is an oral book. So it's recited. So when the Quran was presented to them in this oral form, they were still unable to. Why? The example I gave you of the Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen ayah, Alhamd, the Arabs never used the word hamd with the definitive article in the beginning of their poetry or their prose.
Right.
It was in the middle, but never in the beginning. So now they're, engaging with a text where it is not given, speaking in the normal convention of everyday language in your prose and poetry. It is introducing things which are like, it makes sense, all praise, it makes sense, Alameen, there's more than one world, but the construction of it is something totally unique to them. And this is just one ayah of one chapter. In fact, studies have done to be shown that a chapter contains more of those features than the number of the words within the chapter. That's how much the frequency is. So when the Quran says bring a book like unto it, it's too much for someone to even attempt. 10 chapters, one chapter, that's even a challenge. And that's why the challenge, even being out there, they're unable to do that because it's very difficult. You have to speak gibberish to bring something like the unique structure. But the Quran, when it came, it was never understood to be gibberish or accused to be gibberish. It was considered to be the most eloquent. Even their most eloquent poet said, this is not the speech of a human. This is how they were reacting to it. Such eloquent. So I take back that it's not about eloquence, but the eloquence is there, the highest level of eloquence. So this was one of the falsification tests of the Quran. And so the main argument the Quran presents, if you think it's not from God, produce something like it. If you cannot do it, then seek helpers besides Allah if you are truthful in your claim. But the Quran says, you'll never be able to do it.
If you can't even do that, find contradictions in it.
Yeah. So there are various other falsification tests which the Quran presents so that one can be confident.
I mean, more like a scientific.
So give us one example where the Quranic descriptions of the reality in terms of science is totally against the fact of reality that we know today.
Surah 18 verse 86.
Surah
18 verse 86.
1886. Okay, tell us. No. 1886. Tell us a bit more about it. And I want to know how this goes against reality.
When the sun
Goes to one point in the year. Sees the sun setting to pull up.
It's talking about his.
And it talks about the rest of all between the people, Gog and Magog, and on that place. We can say that it certainly doesn't set into a pool of mud, and we actually know where that story comes from. There's a book in they published not long ago. It talks about myths about Alexander the Great, and this Gog and Magog narrative and building a wall between people of Gog and Magog in the world existed before Islam. So the difference is
we've gone back to those things we were talking about earlier, though, saying that a culture has adopted a tale from another culture.
The question is, where is the scientific mistake in describing the reality? You said the sun doesn't set in a...
It's from the same source.
So it says,
hey Siri, what time is sunrise tomorrow? Siri is saying sunrise is tomorrow 7:18. So that's unscientific. Unscientific, isn't it?
Sunset.
Okay. You can get sunset like this, sunrise and sunset, even in your newspapers, right?
The verse says the sun sets into mud.
Wait. Sunrise and sunset, right? In your newspapers, in your TV, they won't tell you the sun rises at what time, sun sets at what time. Sun doesn't rise, sun doesn't set. But we use it in everyday language. Why? To a reference point. Now, when the Quran described Dhul Qarnayn's journey, did the Quran say the sun rises? It says no. Wajada, he found the sun rising, the sun setting. So this is a description of what? Someone's perception of the sun rising and sun setting. If you went to a place near the oceans.
If he used the word wajad that he found, did he find it to his perspective?
Let's understand that. Let's understand that.
But
and he travelled. And wajada, he says very clearly.
It says it arose on the people thereabouts, which they had no protection from the sun.
Let's understand this. When you go to a place like a sea, and you see the sun setting.
I get your argument. But then it says again, it rose from the area onto a people who had no protection from it, implying those people were very close to the sun.
No.
Well, there isn't one tafsir that says otherwise.
If you have a problem with tafsir, I can have a problem with tafsir too. But we're not discussing tafsir, we're discussing the Quranic text.
There's another hadith as well. It's not Sahih, but I think it's Hassan, I think it's correct, it's hadith. It talks about, I don't know whose narration it was, but they said they were with Muhammad and they're riding the donkey. The person asked him, when does the sun rise? Or I forgot set. He said, for sure it sets in a milky spring.
Yeah, that goes against the Quranic text. Because the Quranic text simply says, Zulqarnain found the sun setting. At the time of sunset, he found the sun setting. And the people meets. We see that every day. I can take you to a beach and I can show you the sun setting. Sun, even though it doesn't really set, but in our perception, the sun can set. So here, it is not a description of the real how the sun rises and sunset. Allah is simply describing an individual's perception of what he saw as he arrived to the place at the time of sunset. I don't see, personally, I'm not convinced at all that this is a scientific mistake. In fact, I find it rather,
Right, take another one. Surah 2, verse 29.
2:29.
Creates the earth. Creates the earth. He says, he then creates the earth, and then he rose up to make firmament, the seven heavens.
Created the earth.
And then rose up to make the sky, the heavens. So you're implying that the stars...
Fashion, not to make.
Fashion, yeah.
Okay,
it was like in Surah 40 when it says it was out of form, it was like smoke.
Let's read that together and see, because
but after that one I've got to go, yeah?
Yeah, sure. We'll leave it to that, yeah? Because you've been trying to go for some
What's the issue with the verse in the Furqan when he says it rose and it was
chronologically.
Let's go to both of them, one by one. God willing, inshallah. So Surah 2, Ayah 29. هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا ثم استوى إلى السماء فسواهن سبع سماوات وهو بكل شيء عليم. Okay, so He who has created you for all that is on the earth and has applied his design to the heavens, fashioned them into seven heavens, and he alone.
He rose above.
Yeah, but it says
ثم استوى إلى السماء.
yeah, the sama is there. The heavens are already there.
Let's understand your objections first, right?
Sorry.
And you can answer them. No, please do.
That's fine.
So Allah has created everything. ما في الأرض, everything that on the earth is created for you. ثم استوى إلى السماء. Then he rose to the sky, and then he made them into seven heavens. Okay, what are the objections? I'd like to know.
We know that the earth was. We know the chronological order. Everything in the heavens came first at the earth.
Everything in the heavens came
First. Well, the stars and the galaxies came first, then the earth. A better illustration is Surah 41.
No, let's deal with this one. In here, when is the heaven created?
Then he wrote.
No, when is the heaven created? He didn't talk about the creation of earth. It doesn't talk about this. It says, whatever's on the earth, Allah has created for us. خَلَقَ لَكُم مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. It doesn't say Allah created the earth. This is not about creation of the earth, right? Some people may interpret it this way. Whatever on the earth Allah has created, then he rose from the heavens and made them into seven heavens. So when was the sky created, sama created, in this verse, in this ayah? Verse is a wrong word to it. It doesn't talk about when the sama is created. It simply says the sama is made into seven heavens after or moreover, right? Let's say it's after. It's still not an issue because it doesn't talk about the creation of the heavens. It says the heavens are now made into seven. So one heaven, one form, fashioned into seven heavens. So I don't see any scientific mistake with the current science that we know of today in this ayah.
And the other ayah,
Let's go back to the other ayah. Then
41, 10 to 15.
41.
They're similar, they're related.
Yeah. So, would you indeed deny him who has created the earth in 2 days? yeah, and you set up partners with it, the one who's the sustainer of the worlds, he made this anchoring mountains above its surface. وَجَعَلَ فِيهَا رَوَاسِيَ مِنْ فَوْقِهَا, and blessed it. And then he, why am I not even reading the English? It's there. For he, it is who, after creating the earth, placed firm mountains on it, towering above its surface, and bestowed so many blessings on it, and equitably apportioned its means of subsistence to all who would seek it, and all that is created in 4 eons. Then, and he, it is who, applied his design to the skies, which were yet but smoke, and it is who said to them and to the earth, come into being, both of you willingly and unwillingly, to which they both responded, we do come in obedience.
So then it says then, it's just that with it.
Yeah.
وهذا يقول لك لا تدخلوا مع او لا تاخذوا اليهود والنصارى.
Let's go to which one? Shakir, Muhsin, Yusuf, Picto. I only had Asad there. Picto? Okay, go to Picto. It's okay.
Then he came to the heaven when it was.
Right. So when was the heaven created according to this ayah?
Well, then, after the 2 days the earth was created.
It was already Dukhan. It's already in existence. Look. ثم استوى إلى السماء وهي دخان. Then he turned to the heavens when it was smoke. It was already there as a smoke, right? But it was heavens. It was not nothing. So when was the heavens created?
What's in the heaven, like the stars?
Wait. We are discussing about the creations of the heavens and the earth. When was the heavens created according to this? It was already there in a form. It is described as dukhan. Okay? So what's I want to know what's the concern or a scientific
It's obviously saying that the heavens are fashioned after the earth.
The skies from that form dukhan, it was then made what? The earth and the heavens, they were both called to come together. They both come together willingly. Okay? So when it was both coming together, it seems like the heavens was in one form and the earth was in this form. Okay? So your contention is the heavens was already.
I'm getting mixed up.
What is Dukhan? Are you saying Dukhan is simply a form that scientifically is not correct? I don't understand what you're saying. Because we have a place here, God is saying, Allah is saying, the earth, He created in specific time periods, say 2 days, in whatever span of this day is, 24 hours or eons, okay? It's not a matter, in this case, in this very minute. Then 4 days equal, 2 days, another 2 days, God, he fashioned the earth. When he turned to the skies, it was already in a form. Dukhan is kind of a smoke, but not smoke with, because when you have a heated thing, okay? So it's a lot of temperature there as well, not just what you call burning of ash and so on. Right. So it wasn't formless, it was a form. And they were both coming together. But when you say thumma, summa also means moreover. If it meant fa, then you'd have a point. So you can argue in both ways. I don't still see a problem. I mean, this is what when I read this, I don't see a scientific problem in the ayah with the current understanding of science.
You're saying that the ayah, doesn't it say فَقَالَ لَهَا? So it mentions that he said to the heavens, then the earth. فَقَالَ لَهَا وَلِلْأَرْضِ.
فَقَالَ لَهَا وَلِلْأَرْضِ.
So if we go from the sequence, then it would suggest anyway that the heavens were created before the earth, which is what your contention is.
The heavens were already there.
Yes, sir.
According to this ayah, when it says, okay, ثُمَّ اسْتَوَى إِلَى السَّمَاءِ وَهِيَ دُخَانٌ, the way it's up, and it was
So
like
it's
this.
already
It was already there, present.
I'm sorry, I got.
Because you have to go. If you come along another time, SpeakersCorner, we can discuss this.
What's your name, Paul?
Marco.
Marco, yeah? I think I remember you now.
Yeah?
Right, see you.
Nice talking to you. Take care.
See you.
Yeah? Shall we wrap up?